Hello, beautiful people. This is Arika Stitches once again. Today, we are going to be making an asymmetric neckline dress with a drop down detail on the side, right in front. Okay, I'll be using these two fabrics. I'll be using this black fabric right on the table here, and I'll be using this pattern fabric. Okay, it's just going to be nice. This we have this pattern will be used on the neckline detail, and then the drop down side of the part of the dress. Okay, right now I'm just going to be cutting the lower part of the dress, that is the skirt part, which I'll be attaching to the upper part of the dress. Okay, so first and foremost, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'll be measuring out the main full length of the gown. My client's length is 40 inches. Okay, her half length is 15 and a half. Okay, because I'll be using half inch to join the half length together. Okay, I'm just going to be I'll be doing this. I'll come up by 15 inches, and then I'll mark 40 inches straight down. Okay, so I'll be adding 1 inch, sorry, 1.5 inch to this particular dress, just to hem it down. So I'll be doing that for the whole thing. Okay, so that means I'll be having 41.5 inches. Okay, for the length of my customer's dress. All right, so my client's dress rather. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to measure the waistline. Before that, this is the back side of the fabric. So I'll be using half an inch for my zip allowance. Okay, I'm using half an inch for my zip allowance. So after that, I'll just cut my waistline. The waistline of my client is 35 inches. Okay, sorry, 36 inches. So I'm just going to be marking that out. I'll mark out the 1 inch for that allowance, and then another 1 inch for the seam allowance. So here I'll just come down by 9 inches to take up the hip line. Okay, so right here I'll just go ahead and remove my half an inch. Okay, for the zipper allowance, and then I'll mark her hip line. Her hip line is 42, so 42 into four places is 10.5. So I'll just go ahead and mark that. Okay, and I'm going to mark my 1 inch for seam allowance. So right here I'm just going to measure what I have here. I'm having 12 inches. So on this line I'll remove just 1 inch on the lower part. If you want it to be more pencil, you can remove up to 1.5 inches. So when I remove 1 inch from that side, I will have 11 inches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and then join all this together, and then I'll come and show you the outcome. This is the outcome of the join. I just joined the waistline to the hip line and then down. So I'll go ahead and cut it and come back to show us how to cut the front part. So here is the back part that I just cut. Okay, remember that it's on fold. Okay, like we said, I divided the waistline into four, and then it gave me um 9 inches because the waist is 36 inches. Now to cut the front part of the skirt, I just remove this half an inch away from here and from here. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and cut exactly what I cut here, removing the half-inch zip allowance from that side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut it and show her. I've just cut both the front and then the back part of the skirt part. All right, so I'll just go ahead and divide this into two. Okay, next thing is to note where my dart is going to be. My dart is going to be on mark 4 inches, right from, remember that this is half an inch. Okay, for the zipper allowance. So I'll just go ahead and mark 4 inches. See, this half inch is for the zipper part of the fabric. So I'll go ahead and mark 4.5 inches. That'll be my dart line. So I'll go ahead and then I'll notch it. Hope you can see what I'm doing. So I just notch this part. You can see with my scissors here. So I'll come back and show us how to cut the upper part that has a symmetric design. So as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the asymmetric neckline, you can see. So and then this is the drop down effect. You can see that closely it's not really a drape. It's not a drape, but this part is attached. I'm going to do that to the front part when I'm done, but I just want you to note that we cut out the front part first. So the next thing we're going to be doing right now is to cut this upper part that has a symmetric design. Okay, so I'm going to cut that now. So I'm just trying to cut the upper part of the fabric right now. So I've marked some lines. I've marked my half length, supposed to be 15.5 inches. I've added 1 inch to it, half inch to join the shoulder, and then half inch to join the half length to the lower part of the dress. Okay, so I've also marked out my half an inch for zip allowance. I've also marked 2.5 inches at first. That's going to be my first neckline that I'll be marking before I mark the symmetric part. So and then I've marked 8 inches for my shoulder. Okay, it's supposed to be 7.5, which is 15 inches. Okay, when we divide that into two, that gives me 7.5. So I had half an inch to it to join the shoulder and then sorry, to join the armhole area to the sleeve. Okay, so that makes it 8 inches. So I've marked that already. So, and then because our shoulder is not straight, I've marked 1 inch here. I've marked 1 inch here, so I connected that 1 inch to my neckline that I marked here, which is 2.5. So I've marked the armhole area also. The armhole area is 8.5 here in this case, so I've marked that too. So the next thing I'm going to be marking is to mark out my bust. The bust we are working with is 39 inches. All right, so I'll just go ahead and mark the bust area into 4. Remember that this is on fold. Okay, so I'll mark that into 4. So that gives me 9.8. Okay, so 9.75 rather. So the next thing I'll be doing right here is to mark out 1 inch for the joining allowance. So I'll come right here also. I'll mark out the waistline I'm working with, which is 36 inches. That is over 4. That makes it 9 inches. So I'll mark that, and then I'll mark 2 inches here, 1 inch for that, and then 1 inch for joining allowance. So I'm going to connect all of that together and come back to show us. See right now that I just connected this. This is the back. Okay, this is the back part of the dress. I've connected this armhole together just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark it by, I want to measure it so that when I'm measuring the neckline I won't be making mistake. I'll just go ahead and mark 1 inch. Okay, 1 inch. This is not the main thing I'll be doing, but this is just a guideline to know how to cut the asymmetric neckline. So I'll be cutting out this and come and show us what it looks like. So I've gone ahead to cut this out. I've cut this out. So I'm going to cut exactly this out for the front part of the dress. What I'm just going to do is remove the 1/2 inch for the zipper allowance that I had earlier. I'll come back and show us. I was talking about when I said I'm going to remove 1/2 inch away. You can see I've removed 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. So I'll cut this out exactly like this, and I'll come back to show us. I need to cut the front part and then the back part of this upper part of the dress. Okay, so I'll just be cutting this into 2 to show that this is my back part, and then that's where the zip is going to go through. And then I'm going to be marking my dart allowance just as I did for the lower part of the dress. So I'll be marking exactly 4.5. Remember, it's supposed to be 4 inches. Okay, but remember that I have already removed 1/2 inch for zipper allowance, so in the real sense it's 4 inches. You can see. All right, so I'll just go ahead and notch that part right now. Okay, so I've notched the part right now. So the next thing we are going to do right now is to cut out this asymmetric neckline. You can see we have to be cautious of the fact that this part is on the right hand side, like I'm standing right now, and this part is on the left hand side. So I've just opened it. This is the right side. You can see this is the right side of the fabric. So I've just gone ahead to open it up. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to go ahead and mark some markings. Okay, so from here, first of all, you can see that the neckline is not even equal. It's not the normal regular neckline I would do. So on this part, I'll just go ahead and then, we measured 2.5 before, so I'll go ahead and mark 1/2 inch extra here on this side. So that makes it 3 inches. But on this other side, I'll mark 1.5 inches. Okay, you can see on this side I've marked 1.5 inch here. I've marked extra 1/2 inch on that side. So what I'm going to do right now, next thing, is to come down by 5.5 inches. I will not want something revealing, okay, for my client. So I'll just go ahead and mark this way. Okay, and then I'll mark the other one. I'll make a straight line from that side down like this. So remember what I said before. So this is what we have. You can see it's not the regular neckline. You can see what we have here. So this part is going this way, and this part is going this way. You can see. So I'm going to go ahead and then cut. Okay, I think we need to, I will add extra 1/2 inch here, and I will add extra 1/4 inch here. So I'm going to mark that right now. I'm going to connect it right now. So I'll go ahead and cut this, and then come and show us how to adjust the back neckline. Now I want us to know that on this side I removed 1.2 inches on this side. Okay, you can see on this side I removed 1.2 inches, and on this side I removed 2 inches. So I just slanted it so that when we are cutting the back part, we'll know what I'm cutting. Okay, So I'll bring back the back part to us, and then I'll place it over it like this and show us how to cut that. Back part right now, I'm going to run loose stitch of half an inch. You see that this is zipper allowance. To be able to cut it appropriately, I will run a loose stitch, okay, with my needle and thread. I'll run it down to the end here. So I'm done running a loose stitch around it. So I'm just going to open it like this so that I will know where exactly to cut out. You know, I'll just place it just like this. You can see. I'm going to place it exactly like this. So on this side, like I told us earlier, I move 1.2 inches from this side. I'll do exactly what I did. I'll mark it like that. So I'm going to remove 1.2 inches on this side. You see, let me explain again to us. This is the right side, facing right side, okay? So I've put it over it. I'm removing 1.2 just like I remove 1.2 from that side. So I'm removing 2 inches from this side too, so that the shoulder can align together when I'm ready. Okay, so I will then go ahead and then. So as I was saying earlier, I meant that I meant that we'll turn this one. This is the right side, facing the right side of the front. You know, this is the back. I told us that we should stitch it together just to get a perfect neckline. Remember that these two, we will not have the same neckline for these two parts. You understand? So before, we had already removed 1.2 from this side and then 2 inches from this side. So we are going to replicate that exactly here. Okay, so I've removed, you can see I've chalked this part, 1.2 on this part, and I've chalked 2 inches on this part. You can see. Okay, so that means that we'll just cut this out like that, and then we'll have the same neckline fitting into this and this. After I'm done cutting it, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So I forgot to tell us that I came down by 2 inches here. Okay, remember that we cut on fold at 2.5 at this side and then 1 inch. That's the depth. But this time around, I came down by 2 inches. That means that I placed my tape rule this way, 1 inch here, then on 2 inches. Okay, you can see. So then I cut it through. All right. So that's the outcome of this. So all we need to do right now is to lose out this stitch. Okay, when we lose it out, then we have our normal two-piece. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to just go ahead and then cut out the pattern part on the front part of the dress. Next thing to do right now is to go ahead and chalk out where this pattern fabric will be on this part of the dress. You can see we've already achieved this neckline. So I'll just go inwards here by around 2.5 to 3 inches. You can see I went inward by 3 inches, and on this side I went inward, I came out by 4.5. So I just connect this place. You can see I connected it just straight down. Okay, I just use my straight down. So I'm going to cut off this side. So when I'm trying to join, I'm going to join by 1/2 inch, but I'm going to add 1/2 inch for this upward part, but I will join by 1/4 inch. Hope you understand, so that I would cover up the shortage on this part of the dress. See, I've cut off this place. I'll be replacing it with the pattern part of the dress, or part of the patterned fabric. Yes. When working with the fabric, make sure that you are doing the right thing. This is stretchy area. This is not stretchy. So I'm going to be cutting. You can see all this I've cut is on the stretch part of the fabric. Okay. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing here. I'll be placing this black area that I cut. Okay, you know I cut it out from this side, so I'll be placing the black area I cut on this place. I'll place it just like this. Please note how you have cut it, so that when you are joining it together, there won't be any problems. You understand what I'm trying to say? You can see what I mean. See it here. You can see what I mean here. So I'll be cutting this out exactly like this. I'll just go ahead and add 1/2 inch to this area, so that it will cover up for the joining. Now, like I told you, when I'm joining it, I'll join by 1/4 inch. I'll join this and this together by 1/4 inch. I will cut it out and I'll come and show us. Look at it now. We have actually achieved this. I've cut out this part. So like I said, we are going to cut it exactly like. Make sure that when you are cutting, you can see that this is the right side. Don't go ahead and cut on the wrong side. It's very important, so that we can replicate the pattern. So when we remove this, you can see that we're having exactly what we have on the thumbnail. Okay, so we'll join by 1/4 inch like this. So we have that. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to join this part for the we'll fix our darts. After fixing our darts ready for the upper part of this fabric and then the lower part, I'll come back and show us how to cut exactly what is on the thumbnail. So right now I've gone ahead to stitch, I mean to to put that in all of the part of the fabric, including the lower part. You can see how it's looking, you can see what it's looking like. Alright, I've joined this side together by half an inch. I'm going to serge it, okay, right here. And I've done the same thing to this side too. I'm fixing the dart for the skirt part too, you can see. So I'll just set this aside. I'll go ahead and slant this back part, yes, to avoid zip bulge. So I just went up by 1 inch here, right here. So I'll connect it down to the side here. So I'm going to chop off this. I'll cut this off right here. So I'm going to cut this off. Then the next thing I'll be showing us is how to fix how to put facing for each of these fabrics before we go to the other part. You can see that I've cut off this part of the back body. So since these are not symmetrical, I mean the necklines, so I'll be cutting each of the facings separately, very separately, including the front part too. You see, if I fold it into two and cut like this, you can see that it's not symmetrical, you can see. So I'm going to open it up and cut the facing. I would stop the facing around this area. So when I'm done, I'll come back and show us. You can see this, I already cut out the facing for the front neckline, sorry, front part of the dress. So I decided to, I changed my mind. I made the facing come down a little bit below the armhole by 3 inches, you can see. So this is what we have here. So I'm going to do the same thing for the back part of the dress. I've done exactly that. I've cut out all the facings for all of the fabric. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to go ahead and attach this the upper part to this lower part. So when I'm done, I'll come back and show you what next we'll do. So right now we're just trying to achieve this part. If you notice well, this particular style is coming from here. It's not coming from the so-called waistline, so it's coming from a little bit above and then just curves a little bit. Okay, it comes around this area. So all I just did was to come up around 2 inches or thereabout, yes. So 2 inches here, and then maybe like half inch on this side. So but on this part I measured exactly 9 inches at the hip line. You can see on the hip line, then I measured here around 4.5 inches here. So I connected around 4 to 4.5 inches, you can see. So 4.5 inches, I connected from here downward. So this part that I just connected, I'm going to slash it out and slash it and cut it off. Then I'll replace it with this pattern fabric here. That's why I told us that I'm going to join this together first to achieve that. So I'll cut it off and come and show you what it looks like. I'm done cutting it. This is what it looks like. So right now, this part of the dress, I will replace it with this particular plain material. I mean this pattern material rather. I'm going to replace that area. So what I'm going to do is to add half an inch over here, half an inch over here, and then when I'm sewing, I would sew by 1/4 inch on this side and on this side. Spread this material. I spread the black on the pattern fabric. You can see it. You can see it. So right now I'm just going to cut it and then I will leave half an inch on each side. You can see that I pinned it. Please do well to pin it so that it will not shake. It will move away from where you want it to be. We'll go ahead now and join this part to the upper and the lower part that I cut off before, and I'll come back and show us. So you can see that we have joined this part. You can see that we have joined this part together. Yes, and the other part too. So the next thing is the drop down effect on this area. The next thing I'll be doing right now is to join the back part together. I mean the half length of the back part. I'll be joining it. I'll be matching the dark lines together like this. You know, remember that I've slanted this just to make sure that I eliminate bulginess from this area. So I'll go ahead and join this together for the first part and then the second side of the back. So after that, I'll bring it back to show us. Then I'll go ahead and also join all the facings together. Like you know that this is the facing for the back. The facings for the back and the front. I will make sure I join all of them together. So after I'm done joining, I'll come back to show us next thing to do. So right now you can see that I've joined this back part. Okay, all I need to do right now is to serge this area. I'm going to serge this area, and then I'm going to fix a zip before I join the front part, before I join the shoulder to shoulder for the front and the back part. So in this area, in this part now, for the facing area, I've already joined. I've joined the facing together. I've joined the shoulders together for the facing. So I'll go ahead and put the zipper before I join the shoulder of the front to this pattern. Alright, right now I've fixed the zipper in the back. You can see I've fixed the zipper. I just left this 0.7 inches upwards to join the facing to the round neck. I'll do that after I must have joined the shoulder of the front and the back together. So right now I'm just cutting out this piece that I said. This is the drop down piece I'm going to be working with. I've cut this on fold already. So the dimension I used is around 11 and a half to, yeah. So I used 11 and a half for the width, and then for the length I used around 26 and a half inches, depending on your taste. Okay, but for me I'll be using around 26 and a half inches, you can see. So I'll go ahead and then line it by 1/4 of an inch all through. You understand? I will line this inwards like that, 1/4 of an inch all through. So I'll just put an opening, a small opening around here to bring it out. So after I must have done I must have been done with that, so I'll just go ahead and connect it to this side. You can see the image is, normally I'm supposed to fix it in this way, but from the image you saw, it was okay. So I'll fix it like this first. I must have done this way, so I'll fix it like this first, then I'll come around like this and just hem it a little bit so it will drop down in front like this. You can see what we are talking about. So remember that I must have lined it. Now look at where it's reaching. It's going to reach exactly the length of the gown. Remember that we added around 1.5 inches to hem this gown like this. So when we are done, it will just be exactly like that. So I would do that and come back and show us what it looks like when I'm done. Then after that, I'll join the shoulder together, shoulder of the back and the front. I'll join it together. So after I'm done with that, I'll come back and show. So you can see that I've joined the shoulder part of the main dress right now. I've fixed the zipper like I said earlier. So I went ahead to turn that piece of fabric that I told you about before. You see, I turned it already. I turned everything. Okay, I turned it. So after doing that, I went ahead on this part of the dress. You will not even see my stitch line. So I just stitch it around there. On a normal day, we're supposed to put it inside like this and then use that to cover it up, but the style is not that way. So the style says that we should just go ahead and top stitch it like this way. You can see the drop down effect like that. Okay, so what we're going to do when we want to join is to push this aside and mark. Remember that I use 1 inch for the side allowance, so I'll just use that 1 inch to join the side. So when we throw it down, it will just come this way. You can see we are already getting what we want. Look at it. Look at the length here. See the length here. So you can see. So right now I'll just go ahead and then fix my facing, the one I joined earlier together. I'll fix the facing. I'll use it to turn this area. So I'm going to use this. You see that I've turned this already. This is the front, this is the back, but this is the facing. So I'll just go ahead and place it this way. Please watch me. Why is drawing like this? Because it's a stretchy fabric. I advise that you use a stretchy fabric for this. And whatever fabric you are using, if it's going to be a thick one, make sure that the texture of this is the same as the texture of this, so that everything will be perfect. So this is what I'll be doing. You can see I'm going to match this shoulder part. So this shoulder part like this, I'll match it together. Okay, and I'll sew all the way down like this. When I'm through with sewing, I'll come and show us. Going ahead to sew this facing, you can see, to the main dress. So I've sewn it to the main dress. So right now all I will just do is go ahead and notch all the areas that need to be notched. This side, you can see, I will notch all those places. I'll notch after I'm done notching. Okay, so I will just sew this down like this. Please watch me carefully. This zip area, I will sew this down just exactly like this. You can see I'll sew this down and then I'll notch this area so that we have something perfect like this. Okay, all right, so that's what I'll go and do now. I'll come back and show us. As you can see on this side, I already have a very neat finishing. Okay, this is the right side. Okay, this is the facing side, you can see. So I want to show you what I did. Like I said earlier, that I'm going to stitch this down. Okay, so I've just gone ahead to, this is the neckline area. Okay, so I've just gone ahead to stitch this zipper area, this facing to the zipper area, you can see. So what I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and notch this part. Okay, after notching it, I'll make sure that this part is very small. You can see I've trimmed that up. So the next thing is to bring it out like this. You can see, so this is the front part and this is the facing side. You can see that it's so neat. Okay, so after we are done now, the next thing I'll be doing is to join the sides together. So how am I going to join the sides together? I'll do this. Watch me closely. I will align the main fabric to the main fabric and join it down. You can see that I've side this place already. I'll join it down. Then this facing, that I said I increased my facing by 3 inches after the armhole. So I'll join this right side to right side for the facing two together. Okay, all right, and I'll match it down. So I'll come and show. So right here you can see that I've joined the side together. I've joined this side together, you can see. So this was what I was talking about. The facing, I matched it also together to join the side like this. So this will come inside. So this is what we're going to do before we fix the sleeve. We just tack this area together. Make sure that this part is matching each other, just like this. You can see matching each other. So we hold it down so that this will just come out fine. You can see. So I've sewn it down. I've sewn everything down, the two sides. So this is the drape part, sorry, the drop down part of the dress. You can see, we are getting it already. I mean, I'm really getting, I'm sincerely happy about what I'm seeing. So you can see what I'm saying now. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to cut the sleeve. I'll set this aside right now. Okay, let me show you the back. You can see. So I'll set this aside now to cut the sleeve. Right now I'm going to cut the sleeve. I just measured out 15 inches plus 1.5 inch, 1 inch to join the lower part, and then half an inch to join the sleeve to the main fabric. Okay, you can see this is 16.5 inches. So what I'll do right now is to just measure out 8.5. Like I said, okay, this is how I try and make my armhole. 8.5, that's the armhole opening. Okay, so I'll just measure exactly 8.5 on this side. Okay, yes. So I decided to come down by around 4.5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and slant it just like 2. I'm drawing number 2. So now, to be on the safer side, you just pick up your dress, okay, and try to see whether what you have drawn is aligning. Okay, so that it will not be too much or too big. You can see I have more than enough. Yes, so that's what I'm going to be using at the moment. So the sleeve opening, okay, our sleeve opening on this side is 12 inches. So I'll just mark 6 inches here, then I'll add around 1 inches for joining. So I'll just taper that down like this. So I'll cut this out right now, and I'll use it to cut the second sleeve too. I've cut out the 2 sleeves, you can see. remember that the sleeves are on fold. Please don't forget the sleeves are on fold. So what I'm going to do right now is to just notch this area to know where I'm going to start, to know where we align to the middle of the shoulder line when I'm sewing the sleeve. So I notched out the middle area. So what I'm going to do right now is to see where how to join the sleeve. So what I'll do right now is to just do something like this. You can see I'm going to do something like this. Please watch me. This is the simplest method to fix the sleeve professionally. Okay, so I'll just go ahead. Look at this is where I notched. So I'll place it like this. You can see. Please watch me. Yes, so I'm placing it just like this. So this is where I'll be holding it. I think this is around the 1.2 inches or thereabouts for me. I just measure. Okay, this is 1.1 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark out my 1.1 inches on this side. On this side like this. Then I'll mark my 6 inches on this side. So I'll just go ahead and connect the two lines together. So I'll do that for the second side too, and I'll come back and show us. Do that, I will first of all hold this place. I will hem it by half and half inch like this. Then I'll sew this down for the two sleeves. Right now I'm done with holding the sleeves on the lower part, you can see, and then you can see I've closed it on the side too, you can see. So the next thing I'll be doing is to set it. I'll set this together like that. Then to fix this to the armhole area now, you know we have the facing right here. So I told us that I'm going to match this together. I'll match this side together just like this, and also the side area. I'll match it together like that. Then I'll secure it down with stitch, just a loose stitch. I'll do that for the second side too, before I then go ahead to fix the sleeve like this. So I'll come back and show us.